What is Stardust? Put simply, it is the culmination of one person's vision of what Star Wars Galaxies could have been. That one person being myself. Hi, I am Levarris. Some of you watching this video may know me, or know of me, but some of you won't. Both for better or worse. So the big question, what is Stardust, and what makes it special? Let me preface that with a question. What is one thing Star Wars Galaxies never was in its entire history? Balanced. One could argue that point, and I will meet them halfway, that in my opinion there were a few occasions where things were close. I won't dive into specifics of that, but maybe I might make a separate video about that another day. So how is Stardust balanced? Well, let's come back to that and begin with another major question veteran SWG players would be more likely to want to ask first. What version of the game is this based on? Well, since I refuse to work with the leaked NGE source code, it leaves only one option. Stardust is based on pre-CU and SWGMU's Core 3. But don't let that fool you. As far as I am concerned, Stardust is not pre-CU. But then, it isn't CU, and it's not NGE either. It's something else. Right from the get-go, you can see there is some differences in the default user interface. You will also note that there is no mind pool on my character. In Stardust, combat damage is handled similarly to the CU and NGE areas of the game. Health is the only pool that can be dealt direct damage. Action is used as your universal resource bar for casting abilities. As I had already indicated, you have the entirety of diverse options of all of the pre-NGE professions available. Every profession has been systematically revamped to ensure that no matter what you choose, at least in a combat sense, it will be viable. Rather than just a few options being the only suitable choices due to access to certain attacks focusing on a certain attribute pool that has been conveniently removed from Stardust. So you are probably wondering, what about Jedi? How does Stardust deal with them? We do so in two major ways. The unlock process itself has been lengthened, meaning you need to obtain a few more badges to reach the village. From there, the process to finally become a Jedi is the same as it was on Live, except shortened. On Stardust, village phases last only 1 week, and players need to go through 6 phases before unlocking. Jedi professions have also been systematically revamped in order to bring them into parity with every other combat profession. We do this mainly to ensure that the people who play a Jedi are doing so for the right reason, which to me is class fantasy, and not because they are simply more powerful by default. So, how does the combat system work exactly, you might ask? Quite simply, actually. Like in pre-CU, there is a minimal usage of a combat queue, but you are only allowed to have one ability queued at a time. This promotes more strategic and on-the-fly thinking when it comes down to combat. Rather than giving players the ability to push a single button that will allow them to chain a variety of abilities, Stardust players will need to be more attentive to their gameplay and use the right ability at the right time. You will note that combat is generally faster than pre-CU as well, with considerably less emphasis on what passed for crowd control before in the form of dizzy and knockdown states. Stardust incorporates MMO industry standard crowd control in the form of snare and root abilities, in combination with a diminished variation on the original state effects of Star Wars Galaxies. This is for anyone who absolutely hated finding themselves flopping on the ground like a fish out of water and being expected to consider that a good gameplay experience. With Stardust, combat is fast, smooth, intense, and I hope skill-based, with both challenging PvE and PvP. So if you were worried that that was all that was different, we're just getting started. Stardust is a totally converted universe. The entire galaxy has been pushed forward along the timeline to approximately 1 year after the events of Return of the Jedi in the new canon. With that comes an absolute slew of fresh and totally new content for all players. For example, each major theme park, whether it be factional or not, has been completely rewritten, with story elements suited to what is currently going on in this new point of time in the Star Wars universe. The Empire has been fractured, the Rebellion has become the New Republic, and are no longer fighting a guerrilla war against the Empire. It is now open war, and it is raging everywhere, all over the galaxy, as things grow ever closer to the Battle of Jakku, which appears in-game as a massive PvP zone, which features both PvP and high-end PvE content. Speaking of high-end PvE content, we also have full implementation of our own customized versions of the Axva Men and Exar Kun heroic instances, designed to be tackled by groups of 10 players at a time. As if that alone wasn't enough, along with that, an additional 7 planets have been added to the game for players to explore, with an 8th planet quite familiar to veteran SWG players that is currently in redevelopment. What planets have been added? To top off the list, let's start with Coruscant, a world that was at the center of galactic politics for centuries. Also, there is Chandrila, the capital of the New Republic at this point in the timeline. Then we have Dromund Kaas, the last capital of the Sith Empire. Next we have Moraband, or Korriban, as it was known in the language of the ancient Sith species. Also we have Nalhutta, which means glorious jewel in Huttese, the adopted homeworld of the Hutts. Next there is Lothal, a world in the Outer Rim that is known to have been one of the main production centers of the TIE Defender, and the last known location of both Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Jedi Ezra Bridger. Lastly, and currently in redevelopment and adaptation for SWGMU, is Mustafar. Stardust aims to be the first SWGMU-based server to include a full implementation of the Fiery World, with every quest and dungeon rebuilt from the ground up. Exclusive to Stardust, along with all armors in-game being rebalanced so as not to see an endless sea of composite armor only, we have added a new profession we call Armor Weaver. This profession is a special blend of tailoring and armor smithing, which allows crafters to create armored clothing appearances. And just for good measure, since we love customization, we've added full color palettes to a wide variety of architect furniture options. Honestly, as little as this video scratched the surface of everything that you will see on Stardust, I believe it should bring you a bit up to speed on everything that we are all about. Visit us at www.stardust-swg.com to play right now. Thanks for watching.